Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, just a quick reminder, I do have the Abundance Amplifier meditation event on the 5th of August, and that's going to be harnessing quite a bit of the 888 portal energies, really helping to prime you and prepare you to receive as much as is beneficial for you on that 8-8 portal. And as a little extra something, I'm going to be also sharing with those who participate in this private event what they can do with items they have at home that can really help to usher in more of that abundance, stability, protection, whatever it is that you've been needing. Okay. So I'm about to do a reading for all signs. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is don't believe any of the excuses. Ooh, oh Lord. Oh Lord. That doesn't sound good. It doesn't. It sounds like there's something happening. Oh, also, after this live stream, pretty much immediately after, I'm going to be heading over to the Soul Sanctuary to go ahead and do the exclusive talk on a lot of the different things that have been popping up over the past few days. Really just pertinent information. A lot of the information that came through during the Blu-ray update. We're going to go really deep diving into that in the private and exclusive chat. Okay. If you'd like to, excuse me, if you'd like to partake in that, let me just put this. You can sign up at thesoulsanctuary.love. This is a very sacred space for our ministry members. That's where we go to talk about all kind of really intense, really deep stuff. So if you'd like to sign up, that's where you go. Alrighty. Let us go back. It's a lot of energy wafting around right now. Just a lot. So much. So much. Oh, that's a lot of cards. Fine. That's a lot of cards, though. It's like almost half the deck. What the heck? Okay. Final deck. All right. Let's get started, guys. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be used by you. So, okay. This is a situation that first began escalating, or maybe it was initiated in spring. Okay. The feel that I get is that the situation that is being mentioned here, it's something that's maybe lasted much longer than just spring, but spring is probably where you finally just had enough. And your dedication to being the bigger person, to maybe just ignoring things, your dedication to, I don't know what it is. It's gone. Whatever it is that's been happening, you're at a point where you're just sick and tired of it and it just needs to go, right? And so I think with all of that, it made you feel so super duper ungrounded. It made you feel, and is maybe still making you feel as though you don't have what it takes. You're not going to be able to overcome this. that, you won't be able to regain stability or anything like that. It's hard. It's hard because it's like your sense of self. Um, Even if you're really good at hiding the things that bother you, yeah, no, your sense of self was very greatly affected by all of this. Like very, very intensely affected. And so what's happening now is you're seeing um how much you've really enabled by not putting a stop to it, right? So it's caused this summer these energies to be upside down for you. It's caused, again, imbalance, right? Um, or at the very least, perception of imbalance, perception of everything in life being upside down, almost even like a sense of why are you being picked on, that type of thing, right? And it's been blocking your ability to step out of that space and into a more powerful, like self empowered space. This is something or someone that keeps trying to drag you back in, whatever it takes to drag you back in. Are you going to let it? I think that's the main question. Are you going to let whoever or whatever this is drag you all the way back into that space of when this first began? And it's almost like when it first began, you were just absolutely sideswiped. When it first began, you probably didn't know what to do, how to respond, how to handle it, all of those things. And so that's really affected you for quite some time. I don't know if it's having to do with work or maybe having to do with a personal connection with someone, or maybe having to do with romance, friendship. I'm not sure. I just know that it doesn't feel good. It feels like something that really needs to be allowed to be resolved already, right? Once it gets resolved, or once you allow yourself to commit to the resolution, like you got to really have it in your head that you are not going to stop until this is done. For example, I'm gonna just fucking lay it out right there. Okay. Right here, I'm gonna lay it all the way the fuck out. So, I have a regular income. I have a viable business. I have actually 4 viable businesses, self-sustained. This is all documented. So I also have excellent credit. You know what I did? Because of my commitment to the resolution of this, I pulled out a big ass fucking loan. I pulled out a big ass fucking loan. And that's all earmarked for lawyer fee after lawyer fee after lawyer fee after lawyer fee after fucking lawyer fee. I don't give a fuck. This will be resolved until either I'm fucking bankrupt or your parents are. Fuck you. That's how committed I am at this point. How committed are you? Because if you're gonna try and front like you're committed, I mean, I think a lot of people, if not most people these days, are very good at reading energy. They might not know and be very like consciously aware of the fact that they are reading your energy, but a lot of people are quite proficient at sensing, right? Maybe they don't call it reading energy. They can sense when you're being honest, when you're just kind of trying to front and say things that aren't really real, right? Just to kind of prove a point, or um bluffing, right? Bluffing. So, I think for some of you, you're at a point where you're just done, right? With whatever it is you're dealing with, you're done. Now you have to commit to the application of the resolution, the application of your efforts to find and implement a resolution. And I'm going to be super blunt right now. I'm going to be super duper blunt. This resolution is for your benefit. We got to stop with this for everyone involved. No, not when, not, I mean, the cards are showing me they're blocking your growth. They're destabilizing you. Your entire summer has been upside down. You're ungrounded. You're wavering in your dedication to the things that really need your attention. No, you don't need to consider them anymore. You just need to commit to what you know you need. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, I know I need to be rid of this stalker stupid ass. So I'm not even joking, yo. I pay cash for everything. I'm not one that likes to use credit cards or have um loans and debts or any of that. I pay cash for everything. If I don't have the cash, I'm not buying shit. That's just how it is. That's why I have excellent fucking credit. I'm so committed to the ending of all of this. Yo, I'm willing to bet a whole fucking house on this. Do I look like I'm joking? Do I look like I'm joking? Bluffing? When have y'all known me to bluff? I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm bluffing. Who knows? Who knows? One person will definitely know for sure. Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm talking about California price homes. I'm willing to incur that level of legal debt. A nice luxury home in California. Are your parents willing to? Because I'm absolutely willing to at this point. No more excuses, guys. No more excuses. None. No more excuses. Now is the time for you to really take the steps that will ensure that next week, next month, next year, it's nothing but a forward trajectory towards more reclamation of your personal power, your divine birthright, and all of that. If you're not going to commit to this, whatever this is that you're going through, whoever is making you miserable and giving you a hard time and creating compounding issues for you, they're going to know you're bluffing. They're going to know you're bluffing. It's like a case of when, you know, someone is in a relationship and it's a very unhappy relationship, and that, that person keeps breaking up with their partner, and they're like, I'm just done. I'm over this. I'm not doing it again. Yet the very next day they're on a date. They're cuddling, and I need to chill out. They're cuddling, and they're basically right back to the same thing. Honeymoon phase, emphasis on phase. They're in this honeymoon phase, and that's going to last for maybe a couple weeks, if that. And then it's going to go right back to the same thing. The connection is going to degrade. And then the person is going to say again, that's it. This is it. This was the last time, and I'm done. No, you're not. No, you're not. They know. They know. So if you're really done, you have to act like you're done. Not act as in pretend. I'm talking about take the actions that communicate without a shadow of a doubt how done you are. How done you are. You got to make it very clear, not just to the individual, but to creation itself, right? Once you do that, guess what? your manifestations are going to start to perk up. You're going to start seeing evidence in real life, evidence that everything is starting to stack into your favor, and that everything that's happened up to this point has been preparing you by allowing you to sit stagnant so you can accrue the energy to bulldoze forward. Absolutely bulldoze forward. Okay. You're going to be given the guidance. You're going to make this happen. You're going to absolutely make this happen. And you know what? You know what's going to happen? These time wasters, these subpar individuals, these people who have taken enough time, energy, and focus from you, they're going to be hexed by their own soul. And they're going to be banished, as they should be. Disgusting. Smelly cheese type disgusting. So, yeah, no, it's going to be banished. But again, you got to do all the things you need to do. You have to do all the things you need to do. All of it. All of it. Because if you don't, there is room for or spaces for their nastiness to kind of linger and hide. And that gives them the opportunity to pop up like a little prairie dog, pop up and try and be cute and weasel their way back into your life. Right? So let's see what else. Whatever they think they've got planned is not going to come to fruition. All of that caca is being blocked by creation itself. That's not going to come to fruition at all. At all. They think that they have a solid foundation. They think they're going to like end you and this and that. They're full of shit. They've been full of shit. The only reason they've been successful in the ways in which they've been able to really wreak havoc on your perception of yourself in your life, it's because they took advantage of the fact that, you didn't really know yourself. They took advantage of your patience. They took advantage of the fact that maybe, because we have a lot of Pisceans watching, maybe you got that Piscean vibe where they know they can get away with a lot. And that you're just going to be like, just stop. You know what I'm saying? So they really took advantage of you, your kindness, your patience, all of that. Whatever it is they're trying to do, it's not going to come to fruition, but you have to do your part. If you don't do your part, it might. They might be able to do whatever they're trying to do to negate, you reclaiming your space, your energy, and your power. All of this really rests on your shoulders. All of this is really, really, if you're a manifester and you don't voluntarily give up your energy through passive permission, passive participation in the BS, they're not a manifester. They've been using your energy to manifest the fun time they're having at your expense. So when you withhold that energy and you're no longer going to let them use it, guess what? They fall flat on their ugly ass face. And I'm not talking about just aesthetically ugly. There's a type of ugliness that goes far, far deep past the skin, past the facial features, and deep down into the actual heart of the individual, right? I'm talking about that type of ugly. I'm talking about that type of ugly. Ugly is ugly is ugly. You can polish a turd, but it is still a turd, baby boo. That's like, I don't know if I shared this before. I know I shared that I was a photographer for a couple, of a short period. And during my photography time, I also taught myself how to be very proficient with Photoshop. And so I began to specialize in post-production editing. And sometimes people would hire me to edit their work, and these are people who are just starting and they're just learning, and I'm not trying to cut anyone down, but if your picture is a turd, paying me to polish it does not make it less of a turd picture, right? That's why I stopped taking bookings for post-production editing unless it's going to be published, because it really, it made me feel badly, because of the fact that oftentimes they would ask me like, "Oh, hey, I really respect your work. You have amazing work. Can you give me some tips on how to improve?" And and I'm just like, "Well," or they would ask me flat out, "What do you think of this image?" "I think you're trying very hard, and, as long as you continue to put the effort and try and learn as much as you can and really just look at other people's work, allow that to inspire you, I think eventually, hopefully you'll make some progress." But it was hard for me to not just be flat out like, "Bro, this whole thing from the composition to the height that you're taking the picture from, it's not producing the type of work you want to produce, and it might be good to take classes or something," right? I think a lot of what's happening is really the need to be very clear with yourself about what is, you know, um, a hobby, and what is an actual divine purpose, divine plan from soul. So if you allow yourself to look at some of the things that have happened, um, I closed down quite a few different businesses over the years, because even though I would, get pretty far in that industry, and it would be viable very quickly, what would end up happening is I would realize this is a hobby. Like, I'm passionate about my hobbies. I'm an intense person. I just am. I know this. And part of the reason I joke around so much with everyone is because if I'm not joking around, I've learned that people become very uncomfortable with the degree of my intensity. I'm just very intense. And so I joke around for other people's comfort. And it's like this thing of, I realized these were just hobbies. Like, I still love taking pictures. My whole camera roll is full of random ass pictures of weird shit. I'm serious. My husband's like, "You just take pictures of everything." I can take a picture of a piece of gum on the ground, take a picture of a twig that's fallen into the grass. Like, if it makes beautiful shapes, beautiful lines, if it intrigues me, I'm taking a picture of it, right? So I'm just always passionate about that. But is it my purpose? No, no. So some of you might just be intrigued or have this hobby of doing people projects, looking for people to help and heal. Now I'm about to say something, okay? um, you have to stop doing that. That's how this person got in. That's how you ended up with this circumstance that you're dealing with at this point, right? I learned because for a while for most of my life, I've sought out people projects. And what that is, um, you're actively searching for people who, you know, you can help and you can heal. And I use air quotes for those two words, because in reality, these are people who don't want help. They just want you to continue to spend your time, energy, effort, sometimes even your resources on them. And then what ends up happening is, uh, at the end, you're depleted and it's still not enough, right? You can give everything. And the moment you're not able to give anymore, it's like, oh, you abandoned them, you this, you that. it's you're the horrible person. I used to do that. I used to do that. I used to look for those type of people, thinking that if I just love them enough, because they haven't had someone who can love them the way I can love people, like platonic love and support and empower. And if I just love them enough, they'll feel whole and they'll become healed. And no, someone has to want to heal, actively seek out healing, and then actively choose to accept the healing assistance that you are offering, right? So those are people projects. Uh, if you look at it, we go and do people projects because we are primarily interested in having an excuse to be so busy that we can't look at our own life, our own decisions, our own unhappiness. It was a very tough pill to swallow when I realized this for myself. Because again, like I said, I'm speaking from experience. I used to do that. I used to seek out people projects. And, none of them ended well. Now, when I help people, they're not people projects. These are people who are brought to me by soul. I'm not actively seeking anything out. Our paths just somehow divinely cross. And then there's this moment of realization like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, this, and this to assist you. And and then yeah, because of the assistance that they need being offered, they then are able to restabilize because they're not only wanting to grow and heal beyond their suffering, they're ready. They're actively ready, right? So then at that point, it's like, yeah, no, it goes somewhere. And I don't have to be consistently involved and forever giving. It's just like they just needed a little pick me up, a little hand to pull them up and be like, you're good. You're good. Let me dust you off a little bit. But no, you're good, you know? That is not a people project. That is someone who just needs some help, right? So, part of what I learned is that when I would do that, the whole people project thing, it came from a space of lacking self love. If you can allow yourself to receive, six being the number of receiving, you'll be able to love yourself to the degree that you're no longer actively looking for those who you could be drained by. Some people will actively try to drain you. Other people don't realize that they're draining you. They haven't had someone who is balanced, healthy, and strong kind of sit them down and be like, okay, I'm noticing some behaviors. I don't think you're malicious. I don't think you're malignant. I don't think it's intentional. But these are the behaviors that I'm noticing. Do you notice that you do this? No. Yeah, because, when you do those things, it can be draining for the people trying to help you. And I know that if you knew that, you wouldn't be okay with that. So I'm just wondering. And typically, if I have a conversation like that with someone, they're like, I had no idea I was doing that. Like, you're not a bad person. You're not doing it on purpose. But no one ever took the time to be like, hey, this is how your pain is being expressed. It's making it worse for you. And it's also getting in the way of people helping you. You guys saw this firsthand when one of our viewers, um, Sinbad Lone Wolf. When one of our viewers, I guess they were having a bad day and they had a comment that it for some reason triggered me. And then there was a little bit of an exchange, right? Nothing too severe. But I was just like, I see you're going through something. You're hurting about something. It's really intense. I don't know if anyone is helping you or, at least helping to emotionally support you. But, that needs to be shifted, right? So, there's a lot of stuff that happens in our live streams that can really help to serve as an example of how to apply some of the things that we talk about. Either you're going to be ready to hear it and acknowledge like, oh shoot, I do that. I didn't realize I do these things, and that's what's blocking my way forward. I'm blocking my way forward. It's not the people, it's me. I keep tripping myself. Or you're going to be like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I don't do none of that. Like, people just keep using me. Stop. You know damn well you participate in it. Stop. It doesn't make you a bad person. You just need to be honest with yourself, because the moment you're honest with yourself, you can then begin really truly seeking out actual applicable solutions, right? Because it's like, if you don't know what type of illness you have, and this is just an analogy, if you don't know what type of illness you have, what's causing it, you won't know what medicines you need to resolve it, right? So there's certain types of antibiotics that work for certain types of strains of bacteria, and there are certain types of antibiotics that work for other strains of bacteria. You see what I'm saying? You're like, you want to be able to get the right antibiotic, right? Um, this is something that is very important for all of us empaths to know at this point. The truth will nourish you and help you to complete the cycles. But again, if you are struggling with the self love, you're probably also struggling with being honest with yourself, right? Because self love, when we struggle with self love, oftentimes we're not being honest with ourselves about how much we deserve, or how much our own actions and decisions are perpetuating the situations that we are now suffering through. Not just struggling, but suffering through, right? There is no purity in that type of choice. It's an option, one of many options. It might be the only option that you're aware of. Um, for a lot of the circumstance of my life, I wasn't aware that there were other options. It's okay. It's part of the learning. It's just part of the learning. If you allow yourself to really learn through this period, though, not listen to any of the excuses that you are telling yourself or someone else is telling you, you'll enter into a space of abundance, right? That space of abundance can tap into self love. It can tap into financial stability. It can tap into friendship, the development of social connections that will make you feel more supported, more loved, less alone. For many of us, we do feel alone. Even if we have a lot of friends, sometimes we feel alone. And that's because you're aware to some degree that your level of sensitivity far exceeds the average person's sensitivity levels. And you've probably been shamed for that for a good portion of your life. Yeah. So, sovereignty. Whatever situation it is you're dealing with, they're not being respectful of your sovereignty. In the energetic realm of things, um, a violation of your sovereign space is an act of war. Someone scanning me without my permission of based on the rules of engagement, that is an act of war. You have initiated war. You have breached my boundaries, my perimeter, and I can now take the appropriate action, or maybe even be heavy handed with a correction. And it is still sanctioned by creation, right? So, your sovereignty is one of the most sacred things about you. It is the greatest gift your soul has given you while in physical form. Your autonomy, your individuality, your ability to think for yourself and to think freely, think boldly. That is one of the most sacred, most precious gifts your soul has given you in this lifetime. It must be protected and preserved. Okay. For the circumstance that whoever is going through this, it's an absolute violation of your sovereignty. It's an absolute violation of your sovereignty. You need to make some choices, right? These choices will lead you to the next part. And what is the next part? Your freedom from the circumstance. Come on, guys. Your choices need to lead you to the space of freedom from this circumstance. If the person you're dealing with cannot take accountability, right? They can't just be like, you know what? I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm sorry. It's not what I intended to do, but I did, and I'm sorry. I don't have any excuses. If they need to be like, but I mean, you need to understand, I was dealing with a lot of stuff and you just, like it was a rough day. Why are you so mad? I'm already going through things. I would totally be like, fuck you. I don't need your excuses and I don't need you. You going through a rough time? Well, imagine how much more rough it's going to be without me there, your dumping ground, right? Like, no, all of your connections must be mutually beneficial at this point, meaning they benefit from that connection as much as you do. That is what's fair. Both of you benefiting from the connection in equal degree and measure. Okay. And if you've noticed, it's always you giving, and this can be in the form of giving your time, giving your wisdom, right? So you have a friend and they're always venting to you, and you realize it's not even venting anymore. You're just a complainer. All you do is complain and you dump it all on me. And whenever I have something super intense happening in my life, you're never around. You don't want to hear it. You're busy. Um, Sometimes people will even act like, "Oh my God, you're such a burden." No, those people don't deserve you. Okay. That is definitely not mutually beneficial, and that needs to be cleared out. Those are the types of connections that lack integrity. If someone is not willing to meet you as far as you are willing to meet them, that's a misaligned connection. And if a realignment is impossible or they are unwilling to work with you to realign things so it's more mutually beneficial, it needs to go. A good example of this, when you're on social media and you're having kind of like a little bit of a debate with another person, you guys are seeing a specific topic from differing viewpoints, which that's okay. We don't all have to look from the same space. We don't all have to agree. It's okay to disagree respectfully, right? But it's like, you're continuing because they're continuing, and you think um their questions are them being curious and therefore you should continue. I mean, are they just asking you questions so that they can better negate you? Because then that's a waste of time, right? I never explain myself to people who don't have the capacity or willingness to truly hear what I have to say. If all they're doing is listening so that they can continue the argument and win it, I'm good. I don't need to win that. You do that by yourself. You do that by yourself, right? I remember years ago, I had I had someone who had booked me for I don't know how long ago it was. I think it was years ago. I had someone who was referred to me for a parasitic extraction, and I mean that's what I do. That's my specialty, right? So I have a broad base of information and some very elevated pieces of knowing that I've never shared publicly. And this person was just like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you blah 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 blah? Oh, you need to blah 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 blah. And it was kind of just this thing of, I'm sorry, it seems like you already know so much about extraction. What did you book me for? You could have just saved all your money. It's not cheap for an extraction. What did you book me for? I mean, you should have just extracted it yourself. And they totally were like, well, because I'm not able to extract. I don't know how. Oh, okay. So you need to stop wasting my time. Okay. That's it. That's that. That's literally that. I'm not going to go days on end trying to explain to you a process that you're not going to understand. You didn't book me to teach you about extraction. You booked me to do the extraction. There's a difference. If you book me to teach you, ask me all the questions and I will repeatedly ask you, do you have any other questions? Are you sure? Are you sure? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. If, part of what you're dealing with is someone just draining you and draining you and draining you, you got to put a stop to that. You don't necessarily have to tell them off or cut them down, but you have to find a way to put an end to it. Right? And sometimes there will be situations where the person is not aware that they're becoming more and more frantic, right? Because they're going through something. It's at that point I'm like, okay, you're going through something. I think we need to pause for a moment because we need to get back to baseline so we can make decisions in a very solid manner, right? Because I don't like to encourage or enable people to make decisions or view things from a destabilized fear state, right? Because then to me it feels immoral. You know what I mean? So I have been known to, just let clients or students or whoever know, like, hey, just breathe. It's getting too frantic. It's getting too like chaotic in the energies. That's going to create distortion. That's going to make it easier for parasitic things to influence your decisions, to amplify your fear. It's not that you're a bad person or weak. It's just we all need to calm down for a moment and then we can continue forward. Right. So when you're dealing with something that's become so destabilized, for most of us, we don't have another person to tell us, like, hey, we got to breathe first. We will make the decisions right now. First, we got to just breathe. We're not even breathing all the way. We're only halfway exhaling, halfway, very shallow inhale, that type of thing. That's going to make it much harder. That's usually evidence that you're holding in a lot of that distortion that you're experiencing outside of you. So it's important, whoever you're dealing with, that if you don't have someone to remind you, to encourage you, you're going to have to do this for yourself. Okay. You're capable of it. It just takes a little bit of practice. You don't have to say anything out loud if you're embarrassed to hear yourself talk, but you have to, at the very least, tell yourself, like, okay, shh, everything's going to be fine. We're working on finding a resolution. You're like, today going to the gym, I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to, but I still did. And at one point, I found myself getting a little bit frantic because I knew the load that I was going to lift was really challenging me, right? And I was thinking to myself, I should just quit. And I noticed a change in my breathing, at which point I intentionally pause, like, deep breath in, slow exhale out. No one is forcing you to do more. No one is forcing you to stop. Breathe. Breathe. Let yourself restabilize and then make a decision. Are you going to do another rep? Are you going to do another set? You are in full control here. I had to remind myself that today. And yeah, I ended up stopping before the complete set was done. That's okay. I don't need to be ashamed. Every day you're a different version of yourself. Every day you're a different compilation of different characteristics that live inside you. You ever notice that? You're a different person every day. And I'm not talking about playing characters. I'm talking about how different aspects of yourself come forward depending on who you're around and who's in the environment, your mood. Did you eat yet? All of that. So you have to give yourself some of that leeway to kind of just experience and flow. You'll have something to celebrate soon, but this is something that needs to be resolved first. Okay. The lack of balance and the lack of awakening and then you put the band-aid of hope, that's a recipe for someone to take advantage of you. It just is, lack of balance, lack of awareness with a band-aid of hope. People who are predatory will take advantage of you. That's bottom line. When you're in that state, you have to be very, very careful of whose words you allow into your ears, mind, and heart. You have to be very, very, very careful. Okay. For some reason, I'm being told to bring up this phenomena of, and it's very common, where you have that one friend who's very quick to be super present when something is wrong, but they're not there to help. They're there to offer their criticism. This happens a lot on social media. Like, you'll have people who are on your friends list. They never comment. They never like your stuff. They see all your stuff. And sometimes they even download and repost your post without sharing it, without tagging you or any of that, right? Like they just pulled it out of thin air. And the moment you post something that they can jump on you about, oh, they're all up there in the comments. Oh my God. Oh my God. You're horrible. You're this, you're that. They know everything. Yeah. Yeah, they need to go away. You don't necessarily need to feel gratitude for those people in that moment. Sometimes the gratitude for the difficult people in your life will come later, after you've removed them, right? I've removed quite a few very toxic people. These are people who are toxic to me. For all I know, they could be amazing towards everyone else, but to me, they are very toxic. And once I remove them and I allow myself to process, really begin to grapple with what happened, my part in it, what was their part trying to contribute to my growth, and really just diving deep into that. I then eventually develop a gratitude for the ways in which their negative presence, their possibly even malignant actions towards me, um, helped to grow me, gave me something to celebrate, right? For example, I have former associates that I'm very grateful for their part in my growth. Because if it wasn't for the extreme attempts to bully me, completely ruin my business and all of that other ugly caca, I would have never left Facebook. I was so comfortable there, right? I would have never left. I would have never been able to have the opportunity to co-create this community we have. I'm very happy where I'm at this point. Very, very happy. I have an amazing personal assistant. I have an amazing, amazing, amazing executive board for the nonprofit. I have amazing friends in my life. I have an amazing community. All of that could not have been made possible without the utter fuckery, malignancy, and just flat out ugliness of the things that were done to me. And yeah, no, I co-created that because I gave them the sense of power. I let them think they could do that to me with no repercussions. I allowed them to think that because I thought I was being a nice person. No, I was just inviting bullies to bully me because I felt like I deserved it, right? Because I didn't love myself enough, because I was struggling with that self-love journey. That's the root of it. Your life will bring to you externalized projections of your internal struggles. It will come in the form of circumstance, events, people, connections, all kind of different things. That comes from you. It's a reflection of you. If you can't deal with it inside yourself, your life will find a way to bring that mirror to your face using in real life events, in real life connections, in real life circumstance. So, do I still need to be angry about that? No. Does that mean I'm going to just be like, hey, girl, can we be besties? No. You a trifling ass. hood rat, ratchet ass bitch. I will never be your friend because you're incapable of actual friendship. But thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. I mean, sometimes you just got to laugh about it, right? Like, God, I let people get away with so much. It's so ridiculous. In the past couple of months, I've been allowing myself to really laugh about some of this shit that weighed so heavily on my heart for so long. Because when you're an empath, you hear people's excuses and their explanations as to why they're justified in their maltreatment of you, and whether they're justified or not. Um, yeah, you end up blaming yourself. The highly sensitive empaths, regardless of whether it's your fault or not, you blame yourself for pretty much everything. You feel like you are the root causation of everyone's suffering in this world, the people you love. Everything is your fault. And I'm here to tell you, when you rise up to the level of maturity and spiritual awareness that is necessary for you to achieve, accomplish, fulfill your life purpose, your divine purpose, you know what happens? Blame is no longer factored in, only accountability. My decision led to these types of events that other people also help to co-create. So if I don't like the outcome, next time I'm presented with this option, I will not select it anymore. That's accountability, right? It has nothing to do with it's my fault. It's accountability, right? Um, just be careful that you don't allow accountability to become an intellectualized self-blaming thing, right? I was talking to a really, really good friend earlier. I had a few minutes that I was free, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is all my fault. I feel so bad because I did. I felt so bad." And immediately they're like, "You stop that shit right now." I was like, "Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. I just, I feel that. I'll process it. I take accountability, but I don't need to enter into a space of blame." And then because they were at work, they went outside to record an audio to be like, "Stop that shit right now." I was like, "You did not go outside to record that." I love people like that, like my friends are the people who will like literally be like, "Knock it off." I know you're not. Knock it off. Right? Because I can get very deep in the self blame stuff. It's not healthy for us. It doesn't accomplish anything. It just further compounds the issue. It dulls your shine. And whether you have dullness or luminosity, you're still going to be on a sacred journey. So if you're traveling, if you are traversing the landscape of your consciousness, would you rather have a light bar, like you see on um overlanders and like jeeps and trucks and stuff who like to go 4x4ing? Would you rather have a light bar, or would you rather have like headlights that are so dim because the whole dang cover of frosted over, you can barely see anything? You're still going to be on the journey. I would rather have a light bar. Absolutely. I would much prefer to have more luminosity, more light, more clarity than not, right? Be fearless. There's this concept of, you know, you need to be completely lacking in fear, or else you're not badass, you're not evolved, you're not spiritual, you're not this, you're not that. You know what? Some of the most profound, no, I need to be more accurate in my word selection. All of the most mm, I don't know why that hit me like that. Mm. Ooh. All of the most profound things I've ever done, I initiated, sustained, and concluded successfully with excessive amounts of fear, self-doubt, and complete disbelief in myself. And I've just identified why that makes me so emotional. Because it makes it very clear that I am my worst enemy, biggest critic, biggest bully, and just flat out fucked up to myself often. That needs to stop. Right? That needs to stop. But using me as evidence, irrefutable evidence, even if you haven't been able to stop, even if you haven't been able to correct that, even if you haven't been able to love yourself that much deeper, you're still capable of doing everything that you need to do. It is what it is. If something needs to be done, it needs to be done. We don't all have the luxury to hide away and not do what needs to be done because we're busy like shutting down. It's not to say I never shut down, but I never give myself the luxury of completely shutting down for a prolonged period. That's just, there needs to be time to process, yes. And maybe some quiet time, especially if, I've been greatly overworking, right? It's all about discernment, really recognizing for yourself, like, what do you need in this moment and having the patience to do this. Recognizing that you are limitless, and that includes being limitless in your ability to be your biggest bully, your biggest adversary. And oftentimes when we do this, we're not walking in our truth. Right? Like in my mind, because I've kind of been in a rut lately, especially, coming out of having COVID. Ho-vidia for a month and a half. Been kind of in a rut. And it's just kind of like this thing of entering into a mental space of feeling like I don't do shit. I haven't accomplished enough. I'm so behind on all my work, and everything is just kind of like blah. Did I catch you? I did, and I let him go. It was a bug. It was a bee. I mean, the reality is this, like, I really couldn't do anything. I didn't even have a voice. And even with that, I still kept trying to work. I still kept trying to do my classes. I still tried a couple of my private sessions, even though the person was like, I can't hear you. I still tried. We lack the ability, maybe not the ability, the willingness to give ourselves the appropriate credit. That needs to stop. Don't believe any of the excuses, and maybe you're the one creating excuses to help you better disregard the gravity of what you're capable of. Ooh, is that what you're doing? Disregarding your capacity, the gift that you are. So, whatever has happened has greatly depleted you. So you need to allow yourself to be rejuvenated. Okay. You also need to allow yourself to be healed. Arcturians are master healers. I think the healing will come from you. You've been fighting the renewal. Probably because you've been feeling like you don't deserve it. It's too good to be true. You don't deserve it. You don't this, you don't that. But yeah, I have a really good friend who oftentimes when we get into certain types of deep conversations, I love our conversations. Um, and soul has a message for them, kind of underlining the fact that they are a very profound shard of existence. You know what I mean? And they're like, but I'm just me. Right. That's all you're being asked to be. Sometimes I say that and that's what Michael says to me. Right. That's what you're supposed to be, just you. That's what makes you who you are. So, that's definitely something that you might want to think of. You might want to, you know, very high level energies are coming through Andarin. These are very high frequencies. These are frequencies that are 12D and higher. So with Andarin type activation frequencies, a lot of that can penetrate all the way through to core coding. Oh my God, they're releasing Dark Andarin's high. What the fuck? Oh my God. Hold on. I need to see something. Ooh. There is something. Where is it? Tell me, where is it? Maybe I didn't send it or save it, not send it. There was this video that I had come across a while ago that they I don't know. I can't talk about it here. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let me just continue on because I need to get to the exclusive chat. Build up, Sigil. Your soul is trying to build you up. It's trying to give you the additional pieces so that you can reach higher levels of understanding and acceptance of self and be more compliant with your spiritual journey. Okay. Attract, Sigil. You are drawing to you all the components. That includes the struggles, the difficulties, because those are lessons. Yes, they're struggle filled and they're difficult, but they're very elevated lessons. And that's why we struggle with them. They're not things that are very easily learned. That's all they are, lessons, opportunities to learn at an elevated degree. So you're not going to be allowed to sabotage this. If you're one of the ones who has a habit of sabotaging things, typically what will happen if your soul says you're not allowed to sabotage, when you go to sabotage, you're going to create such immense hardship to the degree that you will be broken all the way through. So you have no fight left. You'll be completely drained, completely broken. If your soul feels it's appropriate, it will recruit parasitic demonic things to further enhance the learning. So if you're a self-saboteur, you better call yourself out right now. You better recognize this is your only warning from your soul. This is your only warning. Okay? It's up to you what you want to do. So, you're being encouraged to overcome. Okay? Now, there's going to be a lot of other fish who are part of this. Be like Nemo when he got caught up in the net. He told all of the other fish because he couldn't get Dory out, right? So he told all of the other fish that if they all swim downwards together, they can all be free. What if you're Nemo? You're already free and it's not your job. It's not part of your process to ensure that everyone comes along with you. Because that can be a very distorted, very slippery slope. This concept of what's right for me because I'm so evolved by virtue of my evolved eliteness is right for everyone, right? I'm just saying, you got to be very, very careful about falling into that trap of that type of mindset. They introduce that and encourage that perception because it keeps you trapped. Sovereignty. You can't tell someone else what to think, what to feel, what their needs should be. You can't tell someone else that. You can try, but you can't force them to listen. You can't force them to agree, right? So you need to do what you need to do to overcome. If you are called to share with others, if it's truly your heart telling you to share, then share and leave them in their peace and their freedom to decide what they'll do with that. All right. But you just, you gotta focus on what needs to be focused on. Okay. Because that's another people project type thing. Past life return. No, you're dealing strictly with this life and these lessons right now. This life and these lessons will help you further integrate the past life lessons that will come later. Right now, this cycle, it is strictly about this particular set of circumstance. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't further explain it because this is a general reading, and so everyone's details are going to be different of what they're working through. You know what I mean? I just know a lot of insecurities are popping up lately. A lot of deeply buried emotional wounds are being exposed to the air for the first time. And it stings. You know what I mean? It stings. It's okay. It's not going to sting forever. Try your best to breathe through. Breathe through. Just try your best. Okay. Soul journey in reverse. We don't know the path of soul. All I know with certainty, whatever path your soul is on, it's not linear. It's not a straight line. It is not a straight line. Okay. It is something that will have ups and downs, roller coaster type movements, areas where you're completely blinded and don't know what's happening, areas where it's so bright, just so many different things. Trust your process. Okay. Trust your process. So, final card, the trap. Be careful about people who are trying to convince you to delude yourself into this belief of nothing but love and light. Okay. Um, it feels like there's going to be a potential, um, like a very elevated potential for gaslighting, where you're going to be made to feel as though you are the dark one, you are the issue, you are the drama if you don't agree to fake nothing but positivity. Faking is faking is faking. Fake people fake. Are you fake? Because if you're not fake, you shouldn't start trying to be fake now. You know what I mean? Um, it's just one of those things. Fake people fake things. And if you're not fake, then don't start now. If you're afraid of losing fake people, that probably should be explored more than you needing to put effort into keeping someone who's fake. I have this logic about life for myself. Everyone else is free to live their lives. I don't get a say in that. But for me, my life's logic is that when my life goes out of its way to take people out of it, that's for a reason. I need to trust my soul's efforts to protect me. Every single circumstance where I got treated very poorly, like I probably should have taken legal action. It was that bad. The evidence was there. It was that horrible. It's because I fought with my own soul to hold on to the very thing that my soul said was the poison in my life. I'll share one final story with you guys. So I was using high frequency, like extremely high frequencies, to do a lymphatic flush on my husband last night. I had him on the massage table and I was flushing his lymph nodes, right? And I was like, your lymph nodes are all clogged up. You have to stop eating the things, the garbage. You have to stop eating this garbage that's clogging up your lymph nodes. You know what happens? You know what happens when lymph nodes are clogged like this for prolonged periods? It leads to cancerous things. And he's just like, and I'm like, are you going to stop eating all of that junk? Hmm? Are you so selfish that you're not even thinking about who is going to take care of me if you die? Oh my God. He looks me in the eyes like, what did you just say? And I was cracking up. I was joking. I do love you. But hey, seriously, your soul is trying to tell you something. It's trying to take out all of the toxicity that eventually leads to cancerous type emotions, thoughts, and eventually physiological conditions. Eventually, yeah. If you're immersed in that type of thing long enough and you have a predisposition and all the other factors are present, yeah, it will happen if you give it enough time, right? So I tend to tell my soul, oh, you want that person gone? Take them. That person, take them too. Bring new people though. bring new people who are healthy for me. Bring new people until all the slots are full. Bring more, but they have to be healthy for me. Someone's not healthy, we take them away. It's okay. I might miss them for a little bit, but I have ADHD. Out of sight, out of mind. I have a wicked memory. So seriously, out of sight, it doesn't exist. The moment I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I was looking for you for a couple years. Like clothes and stuff, shoes. You take me to storage. Oh my God, I was looking for these boots for years. Except I forgot for a couple years that it existed. You guys, I gotta I gotta head out. If you're part of the Soul Sanctuary, go check it out. We're gonna have an exclusive chat. I'm gonna give you guys information in that exclusive chat that comes from a sector of the Akashic records that, unless you're of a very specific cloister, people don't have access to that. And this is information that it might trigger some people, because I am going to be piecing all of these really like mind-blowing puzzle pieces together, and you're going to be able to see the big picture of exactly what's playing out behind the scenes. Okay? So, for those who are in the Soul Sanctuary, um just know, trigger warning, if you get scared easily, that might also be something to like, I mean, you can pop in and out if you want. But if you are someone who has been feeling this uptick of energy, this shifting that's occurring, you can't quite put your finger on it. There is something different about the way time is passing, about the temperature of the world, about the behaviors of animals, behaviors of people. Seriously, this is going to be explained today. The Soul Sanctuary.love. If you haven't already signed up, go check it out. It's going to be intense. I'll see y'all there in a little bit. If you could please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. And I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye, everyone.